Ronan's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture films in the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being American and YouTuber Ronan. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Unscripted. I'd like to thank everyone currently joining us on X and Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. All right. Say hello to some people joining us here in the live chat. Sergeant Giratina. Host of Films with Friends, the creator of the 10-Word Review, Big Al Presents. My co-host on the Mystery Movie Night podcast, Sin's Corner. Faithful Blue Wrench, channel member of the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her second channel, Flipcheck Productions, Connie Clary. Thank you to Connie for the member chat. Member for 19 months. Thank you for what you do for us, and thank you for watching and continuing to support my channel. The Penzak, friend of the channel. Thank you, sir. Now, I know last week was a little vitriolic. It was an episode that I fully expected would be demonetized. Luckily, that hasn't happened. But, honestly, it really doesn't happen that much. One of the things that you have to remember is that whenever you're demonetized, you're very often you're not told why. A lot of it is usually related to music that's used during a show. Karaoke streams get hit a lot. Channels that show movie trailers get hit quite a bit. But as far as getting hit for content, it's not. It's something that's maybe happened once or twice, but that's about it. And even then, they don't tell you what it is. So it's like you couldn't cut it out even if you wanted to. But last week's show got through it, and no trouble, nothing really negative in return, honestly. That's how it is, But, it did get me thinking, about, what are my responsibilities? What do I owe to the people who take the time out to listen to one of my shows? It got me thinking that, what I say can matter. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to censor myself in any way. I think that's one of the problems is we tend to censor ourselves a little too much. We're a little too frightened to say something that somebody isn't going to like. And they have no problem, those that I would consider to be on the other side, they have no problem saying whatever about any one of us, but, you know, don't get me wrong. It's not lost on me that there are people who are listening to what I say. And, sometimes I got to be careful how I word certain things. Now, last week I was upset because there were people that I had had some respect for, in a couple of cases looked up to, um, who turned out to maybe not be the people I thought they were. And while I shouldn't be surprised, it is still a shock to the system when it happens. And I kind of have to deal with that and everything that goes along with it. And if I'm going to speak out against it, then I've got to take that into consideration as well. So, what do you do? What do you do when people you look up to turn on you? Not you specifically, but just you find out that your ideologies aren't the same. You know, how do you justify that in your own mind? How do you consider, you know, because Hollywood has always been left. Just how far over to the left, I didn't really notice until recently. And hello to aged boomer. Boomer's going to be coming up here at the top of the hour with Geeky Geezers. You see, my thing is this. I was somebody who always was able to separate artist from character. But now I have trouble doing that. And that leads to a problem when you're doing the kind of channel that I do, which has to do with a lot of um, kind of a pop culture type, um, current events kind of a channel, And when one of the things that you do is you review television, music, um, books, television, when you get to the point where you start to kind of lose respect for the people that you're covering, what do you do? How do you go from there? How do you review a movie that you don't want to see? And I got to tell you, very often, I find most movies these days to be these straight to video, um, or I guess you should say, since there's no real video anymore, straight to streaming. Um, what is the point if you're going to have a movie be out on digital in in 2 weeks? There are movies that I reviewed like 3-4 weeks ago, already available on digital. you know And I've been thinking about this, what going to the movies was like for me back in the old days. Yeah, the old days, the days of old. Yeah, we used to get stoned and watch the radio. We didn't have video in our day, son. So, you know, I, I look back on it, and every movie, even the ones that weren't as good, it was still a fun time. You were still hanging out with friends or family. You would always go with and every theater kind of had its own personality. And this is something that I'm going to be doing a show on here in the future, I think. You know, but the thing is, every movie theater these days feels like it's generic. You know, and there isn't very much of an incentive to go. And I'm someone who does not want to see the theaters die. I don't want the theaters to die. I don't particularly want the entertainment industry to burn itself down, but it's kind of doing that on its own through poor marketing, poor attitudes of the people involved. Um, and Dave is right, because back in the days, filmmakers respected the audience, not these days. That's unfortunately, in a lot of cases, um, the case, and it's an unfortunate thing. So it's when I come to being something of an amateur film critic, which I've talked about here on the show a few times, and what do you do when you're not really, I don't want to say disinterested, just not as interested as you used to be. You don't feel the need to go out every week to see a movie. You know, what's the point of telling people to wait for streaming if you're going to wait until streaming to see a movie? It's already on streaming. What do you do? You know, so I've come to notice that my entire way of sort of looking at this is kind of flawed. And it's like I have to change with the times, but keep a certain amount of integrity intact. And that's the thing, is I have been from the very beginning nothing but honest with you guys, and that's not going to change. So that's the thing that has to be understood. Whenever someone says, to me that, everything is so bad that you look at something mediocre and consider that great. And I get the argument, but, dude, I'm not there yet. I think I am a second chances guy, but that's only going to go so far now. Because you have people who have shot their mouths off so many times that they've kind of shown their true colors. But yet these are people that I still, in a way, although obviously indirectly, I still have to deal with. So what do I do? What do you do when your worldview changes, but you still have to do a program like a mystery movie night or just reviewing a film in general. And I don't do that just on this platform, guys. I'm on other platforms as well. I'm on multiple platforms right now. So that's the thing, how do I maintain the level of integrity that I want to be on, and then at the same time, sometimes have to report on things that I don't necessarily want to report on, or give a platform to people who I don't believe deserve that platform. What do you do at that point? And then, it kind of hit me, it was just a matter of me not being able to see the forest for the trees. But I think I'm doing what a lot of people do here on YouTube, is we take the hit so you don't have to. I think that's it. And I think in the end, that's why I'm here, and I think that's what makes WDW Pro so uh, popular, and I think that's what makes Culture Casino popular, and I think it's what makes people like Troy Pacelli popular, and Boomer. I, um I think that's what it is. I think we are the people who kind of see what's going on. We can see through the BS, and we can break this stuff down, and we can come back and report to you what's really going on. And I think that's it. I think that's what I need to do. And it's exactly what Dave is saying here, stick to your guns. And I think so, And I would always do that. But the difference now is I have people who are listening. And that's the thing that's new, is people who are, and hello to you, Sarnji, people who are making decisions, taking things that I have said into account, and that's something that also I am not used to, you know. Um, I'm here in Unscripted as a show is here merely for me to put in my 2 cents on any given subject. It's not about this is not a news show. This is an opinion show, and it's my opinion, and I could be the only one that has that one opinion on any one thing on any given week. So understand, I never expected this show to last this long. I always expected, what are you doing? This show is terrible. Take it off the air. Worst show on YouTube. That's what I was expecting. But I do understand that this show, as well as my channel, has gained a following. So I feel I have a responsibility to those of you who are here, who are paying attention, to people who are in the chat, with every show, the people who are lurking behind the scenes. And there are people who do lurk behind the scenes, who talk to me on other platforms, who tell me they've been listening, and while I thank you all very much for that continued support, at the same time, I feel like I have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to be honest and upfront with you, at every turn. And that's not going to change, first and foremost. how I go about doing certain things may change. You know, the thing that I want understood is that your opinion is still yours, and people cannot take that away from you. Your opinion is yours. You have the right to do whatever you want to do within the law and within reason. So, this is not me telling you that, you should boycott this, that, or the other thing. I don't do boycotts, guys. I don't. Um, I leave that for the other side to do. They're the ones who are always shouting from the rooftops to ban this, cancel that, cancel out this person. I'm not going to do that here. So that's something that has to be understood up front. That does not mean a person may say. I simply can choose not to watch whatever those particular people are involved with. But being as my channel is what it is, the kind of channel that it is, I do sometimes have to report about things that I'm not really that interested in, or that I might have a negative opinion on, or people that I might not necessarily trust or might have a negative opinion of. Because if I'm going to continue to be a topical current events channel, then, that's kind of the sacrifice I'm going to have to make. And I'm not the only YouTuber who does it. So I am not trapped out alone in the wilderness. I think I have come to realize that I have come to realize what I want this channel to be. And the fact that I do have you here from week to week, the people who come back and watch, the fact that my subscriber count is rising and not dropping, I take that to mean that I'm going in the right direction. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move forward in the right direction. And yeah, there are going to be things that are going to necessarily change or that I might do different, sure, but it's going to be for the best. And a thing to understand is that while my opinions are exactly that, they're mine and they're not anybody else's, but they have been solidified in some ways. And I've come to sort of roll with the punches. So that's what I'm going to do. Whenever I go on and I go onto the show and I talk about a certain topic, it will be exactly that. My opinions will be mine, and I get that not everybody is going to agree. But you know what? I'm not going to censor myself. I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to move on. I don't know how to be anything other than myself. So that's got to be understood up front. I'm a rough around the edges kind of guy, as you may have noticed. This is not a show. There's a reason this show is called Unscripted. I don't script this out. I come on, I hit the go live button, and I start talking, and that's it. And hopefully, I can up somewhere in all of the rambling into word salad, that's almost as bad as Kamala Harris's. I can come up with some little nugget of information that, or just say one thing that might make sense to somebody. And that's all I'm trying to do. One person hitting the thumbs up button, that's enough for me. Because that tells me I did something right. I am not the best broadcaster on YouTube. I know that. Believe me, I know that. I'm the worst at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed, as the song goes. You know, I don't expect everybody to agree with me all the time. And I don't want everybody to agree with me all the time. This is not an echo chamber. But if I see something that I would consider to be wrongdoing, or if somebody comes after you guys, I'm going to go after them right back. And that is something that is never going to change. I'll go to the wall for you, whatever it takes. That's how this is going to work. Now, looking back on recent events, and yeah, there are some people who have come to disappoint me. Those people have a right to their opinion. I also have my right to disagree. And I've said this before. I do not want boycotts. I do not want violence against these people. We do that, then we are no better. But if you yourself decide, okay, I don't want to watch this channel anymore. I don't want to go see that movie. I don't feel the need to read that book. I'm not going to listen to that record. You don't have to. It's not being a hater. It's not censorship. That's just you, applying your own opinion. It's, you either choose to open up your wallet or you don't. You can walk away or not. It is, in the end, up to you. And here, at least, your opinion will be respected, even if half the country might disagree with you. Now, even despite everything, as much as I don't always agree, I am not going to stop looking for good entertainment. And I want to point you in the direction of good entertainment. But at the same time, guys, I am going to be honest about what my feelings are going to be. And I think when I do, like, my 10 best and worst lists at the end of the year, I think whatever star rating I've given something isn't going to matter. I think it's going to be what stayed with me by the end of the year. And yeah, some people might say that going off emotion alone is wrong, but I'm like, make me feel something other than boredom or anger. What stayed with me at the end of the year? Honestly, I think I could go on and do like a 10 best or worst movies of the year list. I could go on and do that right now. Have a viable list that would make sense. But it's only October, and I gotta wait. And hello to our resident Klingon, Mark Melnikoff. Qapla'. So yeah, when I review movies going forward, there are going to be some changes to how things are rated. I mean, I'm at a point right now, and here's where everything gets a little subjective. You know, um, I always put up Top Gun Maverick as an example because that was the last movie that I wanted to go out and watch multiple times. That's a movie I've seen more than a dozen times. So I always say, if a movie is, Top Gun Maverick level good, then, bite the bullet and go see it in the theaters. All right, but what if you're dealing with someone that didn't like Top Gun Maverick or for whatever reason doesn't like Tom Cruise? And there are plenty of people out there that don't. Um, they're not going to take that as like an answer. Oh, you're telling me to go see a movie comparing it to something that I think sucks. you know so it's like I get it because people have compared certain movies to movies that I didn't like, and it's made me not want to go see those movies. But it's what do you do? It's again, it's art, and art is subjective, and everybody is not always going to agree. All I can do is give you what my personal opinions are in the end. So, even though I have done shows about what like my personal rating system is, it tends to be fluid because it's almost like I have to change it with every movie I see, if that makes any sense. Nothing is really locked down. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe it shouldn't be locked down, you know. Maybe I do have to take every movie as its own separate entity. Maybe comparing it to something I saw earlier in the movie isn't the right way to go. So, what do I do? Where do I go from there? I don't know. But I'll come up with something between now and that time. It's for me to decide, to figure out on my own. And I will, and when I do, you'll be the first to know. But look at me as the watchdog. I'll go out and I'll see these things, so you don't have to. Maybe the right thing for my channel is not making a change. Maybe that's it. Either way, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be the watchdog, and I'm going to be watching out for you. Top of the hour will be Geeky Geezers, hosted by Aged Boomer, along with Troy Pacelli. That begins at, like I said, top of the hour, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Right after that program is over, at approximately 11:15 Eastern, will be reserved seats. Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music will be my guest for the program. Tomorrow is going to be another mystery movie night. So Tuesday at 7 p.m. will be the Mystery Movie Night podcast, followed directly after at 8:30 by the Live from Sparkwood in 21. Thursday, Action Theater at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. This week's movie will be The Lost Boys. And later on that night, at 11:15, Coming Attractions, where you get to find out what I'm going to be doing for the next week, up to and including my appearance this Friday night at 8 on Big Al's channel, Films with Friends, as we watch the original Halloween. I want to thank everyone who is currently following along on X and Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who joined us here today. Sarge, Big Al, Sin, Connie, and thank you for the member chat again, Connie. D. Penzak, Aged Boomer, U Star and G, and our resident Klingon, Mark Malnikoff. From HQ. At all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.
It's even odd when Ronin's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture, films, and the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties with views to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Yeah. Steve out on your YouTube, bro, let's roll.